You know, we're all pretty used to AI giving us quick, simple answers. But what happens when the problem isn't simple at all? What if it's more like a giant, complex maze with no obvious solution? Well, today we're going to dive into the revolution in how AI actually thinks. And it's a huge shift from just spitting out facts to real strategic reasoning.
So that's the big question, right? How does an AI find its way when there's no clear signpost pointing to the answer? This isn't about just looking something up. It's about forging a path, one logical step at a time, to find a solution, even when it's never seen that exact problem before. All right, let's start with the most basic approach. We'll call it the straight and narrow path. Just imagine an explorer in a forest who finds a single trail and decides to follow it, hoping it leads somewhere good. It's the most direct way for an AI to try and figure something out. Now, the technical term for this is sequential reasoning, but you've probably heard of it as chain of thought. And honestly, it's pretty much what it sounds like. The AI has one thought, which leads directly to the next, and then the next, creating this single, unbroken chain of logic from the start of the problem all the way to the end.
So here's how that single path method actually works. The AI takes just one logical step forward. Then it stops, looks at the result of that step, and based on that, it chooses the very next logical step. And it just keeps doing that. Step, analyze, repeat, over and over until hopefully it lands on a solution. It's super simple and direct.
And here's the catch. This works great when the path forward is pretty clear. But what happens if that one path it chose leads straight into a brick wall, a dead end? The whole thing just stops. It fails. And that exact limitation is what forced researchers to come up with something way, way more powerful.
So if sticking to one path can get you stuck, what's the alternative? Well, how about exploring every option? Instead of that one lone explorer, imagine an AI that can basically create a map of the entire maze at once, seeing all the possible routes at the same time. This is a total game changer. And this slide just lays out the difference perfectly. On the left, you've got that sequential reasoning we talked about, that one focused path. Simple, direct. But on the right, you have branching reasoning. It's way more comprehensive and robust because it doesn't just bet everything on one idea. It explores tons of potential solutions all at once.
This more advanced method is called tree of thought. And the name is perfect because the AI literally grows a tree of possibilities. Each branch is a different line of reasoning, a different way of thinking about the problem. And it's not just growing them blindly. It's constantly checking in on each branch to see which ones look the most promising.
So how does it keep track of all this without getting totally lost? This is the really clever part. Think of it like the AI sends out a bunch of little scouts down every single path. When a scout gets to a dead end or realizes a path isn't leading anywhere useful, it reports back. The AI then prunes that branch from the tree, cutting it off so it can focus all its energy and computing power on the paths that might actually work. But as you can probably guess, having an army of scouts mapping an entire maze isn't cheap. This incredibly powerful, exhaustive process, well, it comes with a pretty significant price tag. And it's really important to understand these trade-offs.
This table just spells it out. On the one hand, the pros are huge. The process is exhaustive, so you get incredibly robust and often better solutions. But the cons? Man, exploring all those paths uses a massive amount of computational power, what we call tokens. That means it takes longer to get an answer, it costs more to run, and there's even a risk the AI can get stuck overthinking a problem that didn't need that much brain power. This is the price you pay for an AI that can be a real collaborator, not just a simple calculator.
So what it all comes down to is this. It's a balancing act, right? You wouldn't bring a giant industrial earth mover to plant one petunia in your garden. In the same way, you wouldn't use this expensive, time-consuming tree of thought process to answer a simple question. The whole goal is to match the reasoning power to the complexity of the problem.
Okay, so we've been talking a lot about mazes and explorers and trees, but why does any of this actually matter in the real world? Let's take these ideas and connect them to the really tough problems we're trying to solve with AI right now. This kind of advanced thinking is absolutely essential in high-stakes fields. I mean, think about a doctor trying to diagnose a super rare disease. They have to consider every possibility, no matter how weird it sounds. Or a legal team sifting through millions of documents for that one piece of crucial evidence. This is where Tree of Thought is a lifesaver. It explores every single avenue to find the right answer, especially when the cost of being wrong is just too high. And really, This is the ultimate takeaway here. This ability to explore, to evaluate, to prune different ideas, this is what transforms AI from just a simple tool, like a calculator or a search engine, into a genuine strategic partner, a collaborator that can actually help us think through our most complicated challenges.
So I'll just leave you with this to chew on. We have now built a machine that doesn't just blindly follow one path. It can literally map the entire territory of a problem. Now that we have that incredible capability, what new, maybe previously unsolvable problems should we challenge it with next?